Is Thursday, June 20th, 2024. It's 8:48 a.m. This is going for the federal prosecution of the state of California. While I remain inside of the leasing office, looking outside of the leasing office window, which is facing the same hillside that I can see outside of my living room window, which by virtue of my going downstairs to the leasing office at building 1810, that light source is keeping in alignment to me. So as I walk in the direction away from building 1806 down the sidewalk to building 18010, the fake sun remains in perfect alignment with me as I do so, as I go downstairs, and then as I walk on the sidewalk. And then the people that are demon possessed are group stalking, maintaining audible activity and physical presence by being inside of their apartments, inside of their homes along the hillside, driving on the roads and the highways, stalking in planes and helicopters, but also by coming out and walking by, which is light activity creation in close proximity, by maintaining audible activity at Silverview townhomes, using a weed whacker in sync with my arrival, operation of my phone, and walking and movement and ongoing documentation. The duration of the video that I just captured at 8:32 and ending at 8:39 a.m., which I went on ahead and showed you still images, screenshots comparing my location at the front door entrance of the DMV in Glendale, California, and my physical location facing the hillside in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, where I remained for the duration of the whole day, like I documented yesterday, the day before that, the day before that, the day before that, as I continuously documented even before I went to the Glendale DMV, which I believe is 1335 Glen Oaks Boulevard, which is not anywhere in any position where the sun is going to have this same position over my head. It's not going to create any light activity through the window of that DMV. I'm not going to be able to see the sun through the window of that front facing door entrance of the DMV in Glendale. There's no sun that will be hovering over the building of the DMV while Glendale police are crossing path. They're crossing path while I am using a communication device and documenting images of the people of the state who are crossing path while engineered light is moving across the building of the DMV, a phenomenon, underneath the light source, which is a phenomenon, arriving, communicating a direct threat by virtue of the demons that are the Glendale police. Pursuant to the phenomenon, they coincidentally arrive to communicate the same type of threat as I am documenting the people of the state, that's the pattern within the pattern. The demons do that with helicopter as well. The entity is doing so. And so what I'm showing you is the entity that's stalking online. Using the communication devices, the entity is sending a text message at the same time I'm capturing those still images. And that's exactly what I documented. Those are the demons that are monitoring, engaging in surveillance online. Speaker companies, Heather Till's going to federal prison. Speaker companies, all of the employees are demon-possessed group stalkers. They're going to federal prison. The intolerable level of facilitation with the state, threatening your life as you see the entities that threatens your livelihood, the ability to maintain a job while you are being threatened psychologically, you're being threatened physically. The entity has engaged in assault and battery. The entity is engaging in ongoing, you're talking about not ordinary gossip out of what, this is gossip by a government who's utilizing a bunch of demons that are the people of the state, creating a narrative. And let me be clear, which I'm changing, that I'm speaking against. In other words, it's not true when you are dealing with demons, when you're dealing with malice, when you're dealing with demon possession, the fact that everyone says it or everyone does it and that makes it true against one person, that's not the case when you're dealing with demon possession. Okay. And so there are things that have been stated. Oh, well, when you go everywhere and it seems to be, if it's, you're trying to establish that it's everyone else and it's not you, it's probably you and not everyone else. That is not the case with regard to the pattern of conduct. That's not the case with regard to demon possession, which is what's being exposed while the entity is engaged in group stalking. It's the very opposite. It is literally everyone who makes up information, everyone who was group stalking, everyone who is of a specific condition, while they mimic an identical pattern of behavior. You're finding the demon possession, you're finding the pattern amongst the timing, amongst the location, and it's all centered on what I do as I do it, and it's all occurring in a very engineered, peculiar science. The environment itself is unnatural. It is speaking to a demonic environment and demonic behavior, demonic activity, and you are also fully aware of, you're made aware of the effect of demon possession on people, and it speaks to what is in a progressive show of animalistic behaviors, which is entirely abnormal. This is no normal level of. First of all, there's nothing normal about group stalking, but the entity, as I've shown, the entity will engage in greater. That is more aggressive, more hostile, demonic behaviors. Okay, being demonic in and of itself is a threat and it's already disturbing. The entity increases this conduct, which is the affect on human beings, individuals who are demon possessed and whose demon possession and whose criminal activity that it wants to be maintained as a secret, that it does not want to be held accountable for. All right. The entity increases that conduct and it becomes more and more violent, more and more threatening. And doing so, it's not only threatening your life, your physical safety, it's also relevant to the psychological, emotional harms and distress that is reasonably going to visit the ordinary targeted individual who is subject to the pattern of conduct. So the reason why you're looking at this screen, this is what I captured at 8:47 while I'm nowhere near what's occurring outside of my leasing office window. I am not even facing Alvarado Street. You have to be on the 2 freeway. You have to be at Glen Oaks Boulevard. Everywhere that Uber was driving. Uber is a heavily documented third-party group stalker. These are demons that, and let me be clear, they're just the demon-possessed population hopping into their cars or a rental car, whatever vehicle they're using to engage in the same exact elements of monitoring. Uber is nothing other than people that are independent contractors. It's the same exact demon possessed population. They're just hopping into their vehicles and their group stalking and making a buck while doing so. Uber, the company, is a group stalker whose corporate headquarters is in Northern California, where there is never going to be the natural environment. The sun is never over them. They are relevant positioning with regard to the specific environment. In addition to that, they're a documented group stalker because people are, in the name of Uber, engaging and facilitating federal group stalking and monitoring. That's the federal prosecution, civilly and criminally, of Uber, who are the people of the state, not a legitimate business. All right, so the entity is engaging in what is at 8:47 in the morning. The light source is remaining over me, and I just captured. We can look at what I already captured, and I'm also going to show you what remains outside of my leasing office window right now. And it's exactly what is documentation of the same exact pattern, what waste management is engaging at 8:47. The sun is not going to be in the same exact position at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is exactly what I'm showing when I'm inside of my office capturing this footage. And hours from now, the light source is at the same location as I walk from my office, as I look outside of my leasing window, as I go to the laundry room. And you have the scientific impossibility, which is direct evidence speaking to the demon possession of the entity, which is legally relevant, where the government is both stalking you and stalking you through demonic methods, meaning you are demon possessed and you're group stalking and you happen to be in the government doing so. This is how you have 24-hour access to helicopters, by the way, and the chief of police of that department, which is actually being shown as what it is, a terrorist organization engaging in terrorism with minor children, engaging in terrorism with the constituents of the state who are supposed to be in the so-called free world, showing what is literally masquerading as a free state, a free country, a free people. And actually, it's an illusion that's presented to those across the globe. And it's also an illusion to targeted individuals in this country, in this state as well. And I want to be clear, the demon possessed, they outnumber the American citizens who are subject to this pattern of conduct. Meaning I am a minority, not because I'm a black woman, but because I am not demon possessed and I don't serve Satan. So what you will also pay attention to, we're not separated. There's actually nothing legally relevant about your race. I have captured my family members who are black. I have captured the people of the state who are black, blacker than I am, darker than me, engaging in group stalking with, by the way, a corrupt law enforcement agency, when those same black people will claim and scream at the top of their lungs, Black Lives Matter. And they are group stalking with the government. So I just want to be clear, all of the aspects of corruption that have surfaced through, by the way, Black Lives Matter, even that movement, you found symptoms of corruption. I want to speak to not the absence of racism as an issue. Racism is, I'm not going to preach, but I'm going to just address this. I'm not going to mince words. Racism is born of a demonic spirit. That's a spirit. And that same overall spirit is of Satan. And it is not the genuine basis whereby people are divided. There are people who walk in darkness. In other words, children of darkness, those who belong to Satan and those who do not. Those who do not belong to Satan, those who do not have the spirit of Satan on them, those who are, with regard to federal group stalking and monitoring, are not demon possessed, are subject to the obsessive group stalking by the people of the state and the state who are demon possessed. This is demonic activity. This is the work of Satan, and it's playing itself out through the public corruption that the state of California is engaging in. And it provides other lessons for your life. We are not separated by race or socioeconomic status. Okay, I do not know Beyonce Knowles as an individual, as a person, and I don't need to know the details of her life, but I will tell you what I do know. A fact is, she and I are not separate based on her socioeconomic status. We're not also sisters because she's a black woman. What separates us is who she serves, whether she bows to Satan and is of the same exact condition, which is no respecter of her position as a so called American singer. Okay, so I just want to be clear. There is no respecter of person with regard to these facts that are revealing a criminal pattern of conduct by a government. It applies to life in general as well. The entity is maintaining this light source over me. It's 8:39 in the morning, and at 8:39 in the morning, I am at the California DMV, and this is what I captured in screen images in the moment that I'm in. Number one, operation of my communication device, and also capturing very damning evidence. The demons that are the people of the state acting, employing the targeted individual. This is a third-party company, and these are demons that are working for a third-party company. That is speaker companies. They are engaged in Title 18 criminal conduct, simultaneity of conduct. That's captured through screenshots. You're looking at the time. This is all the ways in which the federal government is recognizing the pattern of targeting, the timing that the entity is engaging in. And then you're also going to be clear, you're going to maintain flexibility, because what do the demons do? Oh, they'll engage in things such as covering up the light source. They'll engage in things such as, oh, we'll send a text message 3 minutes before the entity flies over by helicopter, because they're aware that their demonic patterns have been identified. And it is no deviation from the same exact P.O.C. You're going to pay attention to all that. The raw pattern is that the entity is targeting me through physical location, through the creation of all the elements of monitoring in that specific environment, and also the timing with which they engage in the elements of monitoring. And it's all based on what I, the one who does not have the spirit of Satan on them, which is why the entity is stalking me in helicopters, stalking as a whole population, which is readily identifiable through their abnormal, it's not normal, it's abnormal, their abnormal behaviors in the specific environment where it's abnormal, period. That you're engaging in anything that you want to be looked at as normal when you are in the environment where the sun is rising and setting at the same address. This is what the entity neglects to recognize. And this is, again, showing what is the not only the demon possession, but the affect on the mentally deranged entity that is the group stalker. So while I am capturing these images at 8:39 in the morning on June 5th, I'm inside of the DMV, and I'm showing you what is engineered light. This is under the guise of, oh, this is the sun that's outside of the window, because that's what I'm capturing, and that's a scientific impossibility. What you see at the top at 8:39 a.m. is not is not capable to be the sun that is remaining stationary, visible through my living room window this morning on video at 6:44. Remaining, while you're also reminding, what is this light that you see on the floor? This is the light that you're seeing on my ceiling and on my bedroom walls inside of my apartment. This is called an engineered light, not sunlight. Okay, this is the engineered light that's appearing inside on the floor of the DMV. This is that nature of that light. It's engineered light. So it's present for a population to maintain what is criminal presence in the shoes of the state. That's a documented stalker, heavily stalking, for example, in helicopters, pursuant to the same methods which is revealing demon possession while they engage in targeting someone, targeting identifiable through the time, the moment, and where the elements of monitoring are underway, becoming perceptible, the 24-hour stalker that are the LAPD, a demon-possessed agency, who, again, Dominic Choi is going to answer for that. And it's also relevant to what Kim Bass and what Robert Luna, by the way, are also engaging in as a state. This is a state's criminal act. A state's criminal act. And this is a condition of a people. Okay, this is what is relevant to public corruption. And there is no sunlight that's appearing flat on the ground on the inside of the DMV, which is located at 1335, I believe is the address of the Glendale DMV off of Glen Oaks in Glendale, California. And I'm showing you the light source that's not possibly the sun, because the natural environment does not consist of the sun that's maintaining this sort of presence while I'm staying inside of my apartment, inside through the living room window at 8:30 in the morning. I'm inside of 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6 on the 3rd floor, facing the same hillside that I'm facing as I walk downstairs. What's keeping in alignment with me? The fake sun that is not seen through the window of the DMV at Glen Oaks. This is speaking to what is stalking with a light source that's not the sun. And it's telling everyone's criminal conduct. It's telling everyone's condition. The fact that they're demons living in relevant position, you're going to be prosecuted for terrorism with the state while you're maintaining a residency for the criminal purposes of a public entity that's engaging in criminal surveillance and supposedly secret in a secret manner. All right. The entity is engaging in this conduct and doing so in a readily identifiable environment. This is captured today at 8:31 in the morning. And on June 5th, where I am nowhere near the Alvarado Gardens, I am clearly in an entirely distinct location. In fact, at 9:36, I am showing on video the so-called sun that is not capable of being over this direction as I'm facing this direction visible, while it is at the same time remaining over me, not only at the DMV, but every street on the freeway clearly. And as I capture video on Clifford approaching Alvarado Street, driving down Alvarado Street and at the entrance of Alvarado Gardens, but yet at the same time, it is present and remaining in an entirely distinct location where I am literally facing the back of the apartments and I can't see the front of the apartments, nor with the sun as you're looking at it at the back of the over the hillside in alignment to me. It's not over the entrance of the Alvarado Gardens. It's not over Clifford Street. It's not over Alvarado, passing over Silverview Townhomes, and it's not over the entrance of the Alvarado Gardens, as I captured on video on June 5th at 9:36 in the morning. This is just aware of the whole record. Okay, this is where the entity is stalking in a helicopter. And engineered light that you see inside of this DMV is the engineered light that you see on my ceilings and on my bedroom walls. It's for the criminal purpose of the people of the state who live at the property, who are driving on the grounds of the property, who are flying over the property in planes and helicopters, who are adjacent to the property, such as Silverview, using a weed whacker to maintain a soundtrack demonstrating demon possession in that specific environment for purposes of criminal monitoring, and the psychopaths that are the people of the state that want to appear as though they are doing something else. This is the role of the people of the state. These are demons that are group stalking, and their demon possession is readily identifiable, not while they keep their back to you and look to the left and right. Oh, I'm focused on weeding, on weed whacking. I'm focused on using this ATM machine. I'm focused on doing my job inside of the DMV. I'm focused on just driving in traffic. I don't know nothing about any P.O.C. You know their demon possession. You know their criminal conduct through the demonic environment that they're surrounding, okay? While they know that you're in use of a communication device, not because you're holding it, but because they're demons who are a step ahead of you with regard to your physical movement, with regard to knowing everything that's going on your communication device. And that's just the reality of demon possession. And this is the evidence of that, which you cannot explain as a human being, the supernatural, the operation of a demonic spirit over a human being, which is playing out to criminal conduct because you're a stalker in the specific environment. This is documenting a government building, the DMV, documentation of the state of California. Karen Bass is not ignorant of this. The chief of police is not ignorant of this. Robert Luna of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is not ignorant of this criminal system, where, by the way, the entity is acting in concert with the very people, the very population, sharing a pattern of conduct. No, they're not ignorant. This is exposing public corruption at all levels while I'm showing the population engaging in the pattern of conduct with, for example, the Glendale police, who cross path at 9:09, where there is no sun that's going to be over the Glendale DMV. It's going to be right here where it remains. Right over me outside of my leasing office window, which is what I documented at 8:44. And that's why I started this video, because at 8:47 in the morning, I am facing standing outside of the entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library. I'm not at Alvarado Gardens. And the two, with regard to the placement of the sun in this position, as I'm looking at it facing the hillside, and while I am at the entrance of the DMV in Glendale at 8:47, which is what you see, which is I started this video at 8:48 in the morning. So I'm in the same location. The light source is in the same location where you see it right here. Okay, at 8:44 is when I'm taking this picture, and I'm inside of my leasing office so that you can see what the entity is doing. 2024, it's currently 8:47 a.m. and I want to show you what is the light source that is nowhere near my leasing office or the laundry room of Alvarado Gardens. 9BIR482 is engaging in what is a demonic pattern of conduct, and so is the California Department of Motor Vehicles. This is all demonic pacing. They're all monitoring. They're all crossing path. They're all driving in the engineered light that you see moving all about on my floors, on the ceilings, and on the walls inside of my apartment, which has nothing to do with sunlight. It's not even sunlight, nor could that possibly be. I've already established that this isn't even the natural environment where the sun could be present, let alone for the whole day, but let alone over the Ontario International Airport at any point in the day at 6:41 as I am on Route 61 in Ontario, California. So this is in every regard breaking down every aspect of the delusion that the demon possessed surround the targeted individual with, where they are group stalking you. engaging in demonic behavior together. This is an ongoing system. It's like a centipede of demons repeatedly crossing paths over and over and over again under what is the spectacular. This is the light source that's over me at the DMV while I am facing the Glenview. My back is to the DMV. I've stepped outside of the office, and this is on the bottom, the light source that's remaining over me. And let's just get real-time footage of it. It's remaining right here outside of the leasing office. It is not over the DMV. The two are not happening. Spectacular demonstration of the scientifically impossible environment. Readily identifying criminal conduct by the state. CGU 3347. That is the identification of a third party, an agent of the state. The population of the state of California is engaging in surveillance in concert and on behalf of the state. This is why they are identified as third parties. And this is massive demonic activity. This is P.O.C, the entity that knows that it's being documented. This is audible activity, creation, relevant positioning. How can I help you?
I just let you know that I changed my vehicle permanently.
Oh, okay.
Very last one.
Okay.
Used to be the black GLA Mercedes, right?
Uh-huh.
To Camry.
Okay. It's parked in your spot?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can provide me your registration as soon as you can.
Right now, I can bring the sales contract.
You don't. Is it a brand new car or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When you get your DMV registration or your title, anything, so I can take a copy of it.
What about the insurance ID?
Not so much, but you can bring that as soon as you get it. Okay. So thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. For now, I have at least.
It's fine. You can bring it when you have it. Don't have a heart attack. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you. This is elements of monitoring, and so that's fine because this is the light source that's not seen outside of the DMV. This is through my leasing office window, very exclusive sky space, as exclusive as looking through the window of the DMV in Glendale. This is where the entity is flying over all day long in helicopters, and while the sun is rising and setting through my bedroom of windows, this is where the entity is stalking in helicopters in my apartment. This is the pattern of conduct that the state of California is engaging in, and while it does so, it is prosecuting simultaneously. When you are establishing and showing that pattern, it's literally precipitating down with regard to the prosecution of that whole population. And that is already established beyond a reasonable doubt. The criminal conduct of the state of California. And I'm also exposing what is their condition while they engage in this unheard of method of stalking and surveillance. The entity is engaging in what is clearly in service of the demonic, and then seeking in the shoes of the state, trying to proscribe speech when the state is the criminal, the state is the stalker, the state is the demon-possessed entity. All right, that absurd level of criminal conduct is all relevant to the prosecution of the entity. That is indeed group stalking. This is where the entity is engaging in what is crossing path. You've seen the whole population, literally everybody that lives here, crossing path and engineer light, moving all across the apartment buildings, moving across the dumpsters. Then the population that is the same ones bearing logos. UPS, you've seen engaging in the directed light conduct. You've seen Amazon Prime engaging in the directed light conduct. You've seen the Center for Better Life coming onto the grounds engaging in the engineered light conduct. You have seen FedEx coming onto the grounds engaging in the engineered light conduct, and for the entity to repeatedly provide that evidence of your condition and it's already criminal presence. You're not delivering a package, you're engaged in the elements of monitoring, and your engagement in delivering such packages is the malice with which the population, the people of the state that are exposing their companies to civil prosecution. You're in the shoes of the state, engaging in the state's criminal system, and it's highly malicious. And that level of malice and impunity is relevant for how strenuous that federal prosecution will be with regard to draining the pockets. Okay, this is never before contemplated civil and criminal prosecution because the government has never been prosecuted or exposed for engaging in criminal surveillance in the so-called free world, in the state of California at that. And I'm in Los Angeles, okay? This is where people literally abandon their lives and come to live here. And I want to let you know what you're coming to live and be surrounded by, and what you are present, and what the sickness that are the people of the state and the government that are using helicopters to keep American citizens under surveillance and terrorize them. And we're not in any third world country. This is Los Angeles. This is Los Angeles, and this sky space is not shared with what is outside of the front door of the DMV in Glendale, California. And state surveillance, that's a Washington plate. This is the identification of a third party whose license plate I read, and I documented the population for a term of years on podcast, where the people of the state of population heavily documented, engaging in the state system, and that is the substance of the evidence against the state of California. As this population, the people of the state, have engaged in state surveillance for a term of years, as I've been aware of it. And I also want to point out what is simultaneously being captured. The relevance with regard to what is necessary as a matter of justice. The criminal conduct is requiring, as a matter of justice, all that I am advocating. Not only do you go to federal prison when you act directly with the state, not only do you go to federal prison when you are exhibiting what is an impermissible threat, not only do you go to federal prison when you are engaged in any method of kidnapping by the state, any facilitation of that kidnapping, meaning any part that you played, including group stalking with the state while a kidnapping is in progress, you go to federal prison. Also, you're talking about what is grounds with regard to deportation out of the state. You're talking about what is grounds for the being published as a terrorist in this, to be maintained by the Department of Justice, and also the criminal record, the removal from the areas from professional industries because of the nature of the crime of federal group stalking, which is a criminal act committed by a government. And in the United States, under the malicious guise of freedom, the entity is literally abusing this so-called freedom and actually engaging in that which is antithetical to freedom, and abusing the freedom principles that we have to engage in violating the freedom of another, and doing it in the most satanic ways that you can't even fathom or make it up. This is why I knew beforehand that it had to be documented for the world to witness, let alone a federal court, in order to entertain and provide justice in the manner that is required, because of the demonic nature and the malice, in other words, that the government exhibits as it's engaging in this criminal system. And it is directly relevant to the knowledge that the mayor and the governor, Robert Luna of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, Dominic Choi, the Los Angeles Police Department, the government actors, these courts, where I'm documenting the pattern of conduct. They are not ignorant, nor can you reasonably contend that you are ignorant. So you're talking about what is an inevitable with regard to being approached with the evidence of your criminal conduct, and you are establishing grounds of permanent removal from any place of leadership or ownership where you are in the shoes of the state. Literally, it's occurring on your watch. You are derelict if you want to feign ignorance, because what the P.O.C. is revealing, they're demons. Karen Bass, I want to let you know what's wrong with her. She's a servant of Satan. She is in a position of government, and this is her condition, while she is not ignorantly in a position whereby this criminal system is going rampant in the state of California. And I'm going to let you know right now, this is her condition. She's a demon-possessed state actor, not a third party. She's a state actor. So with regard to my language, what am I doing? I'm combining both what's legally relevant, her condition, which is of demon possession. That's what's wrong. That's what's going on in the state of California. And this is a demon-possessed person who's serving a political role in the state of California. And also, legally speaking, with regard to roles and leadership positions that people hold, you're not, nor under any prosecution, are you going to be able to reasonably deny responsibility for what your employees are engaging in while they're on the job. Accordingly, you will not reasonably deny any sort of responsibility or knowledge, nor the people who are witnessing the P.O.C. and the exposure of what Satan is doing amongst the people. This is a demonic activity that is rampant in the state of California. Karen Bass serves Satan. And she's in a role in government, and she is doing so while this pattern of conduct is underway. And with regard to legally speaking, you are derelict in your position. You are unworthy to maintain the position that you hold. Such dereliction is worthiness of removal from that position. And that is speaking to the ability of police departments and sheriff's departments and a whole population in the state of California to engage in this level of criminal conduct at such a malicious, and you're not reasonably ignorant about it. This is something that was never designed to be exposed. But just as an aside, as any other owner or person in leadership would be found derelict upon the exposure of some sort of gross or literal total departure from normalcy or what's acceptable, you are accountable for it by virtue of your position. And nor is it reasonable for you to contend that you are so ignorant. And let me be clear, she is fully engaged in the pattern of conduct. The state of California engages in the criminal system by enabling and also seeking to silence. Like I said, there are people who have lost their lives. Oh, there are people who are sitting around kidnapped in a facility or a jail right now who are subject and have been subject to the P.O.C. And the demon-possessed sheriffs and those that are working in those facilities are group stalking them. They're subject to psychological torture while they're being kept in these facilities. The demon-possessed are not just group stalking outside of the doors and walls of the facilities. It's not only serving for the purpose to put that target individual in such positions. The demons, remember, it's spiritual at its core. It's satanic at its core. They're kidnapping them, and then the target individual remains subject to this demonic system inside of the walls of the facilities. This is exactly what the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department were engaging in. This is why you have the engineer light appearing inside of the jail. You're not group stalking for purposes of just getting me to a state of being kidnapped. Once I'm kidnapped, the demons are still engaging in the demonic pacing, stalking with activity, and doing so maliciously while you want to look like a normal person wearing a badge, engaging in the execution of your duty. You're a demon-possessed state actor, kidnapping, while federal group stalking and monitoring is underway, literally manufacturing information about the mental health of that targeted individual, which is criminal defamation. This is how the system works. And the mayor and the governor of the state, the chief of police, they are government actors. They are fully engaged and in facilitating, enabling, fully cognizant of the fact that this is the case. It's a secret system. It's entirely malicious. That's what's relevant to documenting the people of the state, a whole population who are acting pursuant to that, revealing what is massive demon possession, which is the why as to the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring. While that light source is remaining in alignment to me, and I'm showing you the light source.
EAW763, that's a Caucasian female group stalking with this demon that's walking on the sidewalk. Communication device, they're all engaged in federal stalking.
I'm pointing out what is pacing. The vehicles are driving in different directions. That's demonic pacing. That's this going back and forth. This is what a demon wants to do in the engineered environment while the fake sun remains over hue. The population is accomplishing this, and you're seeing in the natural traffic. You're seeing one person walking in this direction, a pedestrian, and you're seeing another vehicle driving in this direction, and you're looking at demonic pacing in the engineered environment. You're looking at demonic activity. You just don't, you're ignorant about what you're actually seeing, and it's occurring right in your face. All right. It's demonic activity that's occurring as a population. And those demons are sitting in the role of mayor. They're sitting in the role of police departments, sheriff's departments, and they have leadership positions. And this federal prosecution is going to trickle down to those who are sitting at the heads of those positions. And that is literally, just getting to a minor ability to approach justice. Okay. Dealing with the heads of these departments. Okay, so I just want to point that out. That's not even there's no way that you can quantify. There's no way that you can put some sort of specific act that will even approach what an American citizen should not be subject to by a government. And the government is using the people. This is where the entity is stalking. Speaker companies, the whole corporate office is going to federal prison. The whole corporate office. This is where the entity is stalking in helicopters. And the speaker companies that are the people of the state, where they are group stalking and referencing the demons that are LAPD. Dominic Choi, who was specifically identified in that evidence that the people of the state utilized to try to silence the target individual, which is a very serious federal offense. It's a criminal act of obstruction of justice. This is relevant for what is the personalized prosecution of Dominic Choi. Okay, and this is where the entity is sounding helicopter activity, and the people of the state are group stalking. The same people of the state draft a letter called an employee warning notice while you are surrounded in the specific environment, threatening your life. That's a whole other level of a threat. That's a heightened level by the entity. Heather Till is indeed going to federal prison. She's engaging in group stalking while she is documented on June 3rd, engaging in group stalking while I'm on the phone with her. And at 4:12 p.m., this fake sun is still over me while I step outside of this front door. And that same demon-possessed agency that's listening to me expose them right now, providing evidence against itself, against Karen Bass, against Robert Luna, against Dominic Choi, against the entire agency, that the terrorist organization that is an illegitimate law enforcement agency. This is revealing terrorism in the state of California and their true positions, their true behavior. Their true criminal conduct, as opposed to engaging in the execution of justice, serving and protecting, they're stalking while you're listening to the audible activity. It's the same thing that Waste Management is doing while they're amplifying the sound of a dumpster truck, while the fake sun is still in this position at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's still in this position at 1:30 in the afternoon, while UPS is group stalking, while that same demon-possessed agency flies over my head, and I'm at this same exact location. Okay, while I'm still at this location and I'm walking down the same path to my apartment at 5 o'clock, and this fake sun is still over me at the same exact address, while that same demon-possessed agency is stalking in a helicopter. That's revealing at the same time what is not possible. While I'm looking at this window at 8:47 when I started this video.
Traffic is systematic maintenance of presence. This is group stalking that's underway by an entire public entity, doing it in concert with the people of.
And I want to make sure that you understand what they're engaging in is demonic pacing. It's amongst a population. The entity engages in the criminal conduct, which you heard. That's the audible sound of the helicopter. The demons didn't even go anywhere. They're sitting around listening to me expose them. They engage in the elements of monitoring because they want me to stop talking about the reality of their demon possession as a whole state. Because that's what you're looking at. You're looking at demons in traffic. They're pacing all around. This is revealing what is mental illness that is literally a threat to the public safety, because these are psychopaths. This is not traffic. This is heavy duty stalking as a whole population in the state of California. That's why you have the phenomenon of that which is not possibly the sun over my head while I'm at the DMV in Glendale, which is not seen outside of my window of the leasing office when I'm standing beside building 1808 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, facing the hillside where you saw the so-called sunrise at 6:44, and it's in the same position. It's not going anywhere to be capable of ever being over the DMV while it engages in this asinity remaining present stationary over me while I am in at the same location. In addition, it's an entirely distinct location as I'm facing this direction. It is not seen over the through the window of the DMV. It's not moving in any position to be at the same time over any DMV any DMV, but specifically what I documented on June 5th, which is the Glendale DMV.
2020.
So I want to make sure you're understanding both the timing, why the demons are engaging, and they want me to stop talking about the reality of their demon possession as a whole government, as a whole entity. And I want to be clear, that's exactly what's being exposed. While a population is living in relevant position, this whole population is going to be prosecuted. And the video that I captured at 8:32, ending at 8:39, where there is no sun that's visible through the window of the DMV at Glen Oaks, is speaking to the demon possession and all of the elements of monitoring that you heard in that video that I captured. And it's also impunity while the entity on a 24-hour continuous basis continues to do so. That's all relevant with regard to the federal prosecution and all of that is entailed in a prosecution of a population that's engaging in terrorism in this so-called civilized and dignified United States. For engaging in terrorism, being a domestic enemy, and engaging in such betrayal of American citizens, there is a high price to pay. Not only monetarily, but with regard to that prosecution and what justice requires. And it literally includes cleansing the population and cleansing the government at every level. The entity is maintaining this light source.
It's currently 8:47 a.m. and I want to show you what is the light source that is nowhere near my leasing office or the laundry room.
And this is what I'm
Alvarado
referencing
Gardens. 9 BIR 482 is engaging in what is a demonic pattern of conduct, and so is the California
I
Department
remain here
of the government of the state of California, highlighting and underscoring all the ways in which.
This is the significance of what I captured, because while I was at the DMV, I recalled a video at 8:47 when I'm standing right outside, and at 8:47 the light source is here. So today I stay here. 8:47, I start this video at essentially the same time, 8:48, and I have not gone to any DMV, but yet the ability for the so-called sun to remain visible through the window, it's over the building, hovering over the building as I continuously capture the light source that's over me while Glendale police and the people of the state are crossing path and engineer lights moving. So you're witnessing demons, a whole population of demons that are going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They're demons that are pacing all around. It's rampant and heavy duty demonic activity, a demon possessed population, group stalking together in the demonic environment. And all of the evidence of that is speaking to the impossible occurrence that the sun is both maintaining stationary presence at one address all day long over me. And also at the same time, when I am capturing video of what is my departure from being at the same location where the sun is supposed to remain all day long, including at the same time. And I'm at an entirely distinct location, but yet the light source is remaining in its zenith in the same position over me at an entirely distinct location. And this is just the Glendale the DMV. I am capturing, for example, as I referenced, at 9:05 in the morning, April 2022, I'm at the Rancho Cucamonga DMV. That's just a bonus right there. There's a whole body of evidence that the sun is never going to be over the DMV or over Alvarado Gardens, and it's already not rocket science that the sun is not going to be at one address for the duration of the day. This is all angles of showing what is demon possession while federal group stalking and monitoring is underway by the state of California. And it is inextricably linked to the condition and the knowledge of Karen Bass, who is not a legitimate mayor, by the way. She is a group stalker. She's a group stalker who happens to hold a government position, a political role. Not ignorant, nor will you reasonably maintain any position of ignorance at the prosecution of the state who is engaging in terrorism. You are found to be derelict if you want to feign ignorance, but it's not going to be relevant because you will be removed from your position. Period. So this is the ability to enable a government. It's at every level. This is how you have 24-hour surveillance terrorizing an American citizen with helicopters. This is how you get there. Every level corrupt, every single level. The entity is engaging in what is maintaining the light source as I'm pointing this out at the DMV. And I don't go anywhere near the DMV on today, and the light source is remaining in the same exact position.
P.O.C. is concrete evidence against the state. The sun is never rising and setting at one address. The entity is maintaining. The sun is never at 8:47. The government's criminal system. Well, excuse me. When you're criminalizing the government's demonic activity, you can slice it down, and that's what I've done. When you want to act with the state, you can't just go into any government building and group stalk. If you do, that fool's going to federal prison. Period. And there'll be plenty of fools that will. They're so far gone in Satan, they will do that, but many will be deterred, okay?
So this is the maintenance of the light source, and you're looking at it while I am in a position at facing, the laundry room is right here next door. I share a wall. This is where the demons are going and engaging in surveillance, and they're beating on the walls, slamming machines to maintain a soundtrack for every move, everything that I'm doing as I do it. The demons that are in helicopters, they do the same thing. They also do it with regard to whatever it is that I might be speaking of that Satan is fearful of, doesn't want me to talk about, wants to distract away from me. There is no distraction, okay? The entity is making a point, and I want to, that it's a way to point out, first of all, yes, indeed, they are stalking. They're doing so in a specific environment, and it is evidence with regard to where the helicopter activity is maintaining ongoing documented ongoing helicopter activity. So this is the light source that's over me at the DMV at 8:47, and yet on this day at the bottom at 9:36 in the morning, I'm nowhere near this location, and the light source that remains here is seen over my head when I am driving to this location. That's a scientific impossibility. So let's look at that right now at the same time. And this is capturing what is the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring, where the unnatural environment remains around you. And this is revealing what is the unnatural, contrary to what the entity would like to suggest, a figment of the targeted individual's imagination. Unfortunately, that targeted individual is incapable, perhaps lacking the skill set and the ability to not only articulate what a corrupt government is doing of a demonic nature, but also even just identify, understand it, certainly not prosecute it. This is the light source that's over me. And so again, this is capturing two things at one time, and it's impossible that it is, first of all, that either occur. And why? The fact that the light source is over me, visible through the Uber window while I am on Clifford Street. Let me be clear. Clifford is in an entirely different direction. It is in an entirely different direction. Alvarado Street's in this direction, and Clifford is off of Alvarado, nowhere near where I'm located right now. So we're not even facing in the same direction. It's not even in the same direction. While the light source is directly over my head, coming toward what is Alvarado Street. And the light source that you see over my head while I'm inside of the Uber is not over or outside of this hillside. In the same manner, it's not capable of being seen. And what you'll see in this video on the bottom, where I'm not at Alvarado Gardens, and because I'm not at Alvarado Gardens, you're not going to see this light source out the leasing office window of Alvarado Gardens. You can't see it outside of the office of the leasing, outside of the leasing office window while I'm at the DMV. The entity is stalking in helicopters while I am here. They're not flying over the DMV. They're not flying over the fake sun that's over the DMV. They're not flying over the Ontario International Airport while the fake sun is over that international airport at the same time it's over me at Alvarado Gardens. The entity is stalking in the path, maintaining, crossing a path, and audible activity creation, which is light activity in this engineered environment. And I'm capturing the impossible. The light source that's over me outside of this leasing office window is at the same time in the video below, which at 9:36 in the morning. It's 9:31, okay? I am right now on this day coming to the location of the Alvarado Gardens. I am not yet near. So let's see where I'm at. I'm on the freeway documenting third-party group stalker. They're crossing path while the light source is visible outside of the window. I'm in the backseat of the Uber on the freeway, on the 2 freeway. This is documentation of the people of the state. License 4093583. And this is a commercial actor, who was group stalking at the DMV. This is within a pattern, and this is also why I went to the extent to take a picture. Where you document the people of the state, it's not a coincidence in the specific environment. So now I'm seeing more of this third-party brand than I've ever seen before, and now they're crossing paths with me on the freeway. And I documented them group stalking at the DMV. This is the pattern of the demon possessed. So you're literally understanding with regard to revealing demonic activity, you're just attributing that demonic behavior to a logo because it's a demon that's operating the vehicle. And you will find that this logo is seemingly more present the more that you identify it. And that's just the demonic behavior of those who are controlling the use of the logo. And so this is why you have what is crossing path, because this is not the sun that's seen outside of the window of the Uber at what is 9:34 in the morning. It's currently 9:33. And that's how you know what that third parties are doing on the 2 freeway. While I have remained stationary, and while on Uber, I'm coming from the DMV, and you're looking at what is not going to be seen through the window of the of any vehicle, let alone while it's remaining stationary at what is from the DMV in traffic, street for street, turn for turn on the 2 freeway, turning onto, this is Glendale Boulevard. You can see the light source that's over me while I am crossing path. That's what this is with regard to the maintenance of the specific environment. And as coming off of the 2 freeway, this is what I'm taking pictures of, and the light source is remaining in alignment with me through the window, and I'm documenting the people of the state. The entity is maintaining this light source stationary outside of my leasing office window. This is the light source that's at the intersection of Clifford and Glendale, and there is no presence of, contrary to what you're seeing here, while I remain here throughout the duration of this video, and the light source is remaining stationary. And that is not the same location at the intersection, which would be on the opposite. The entity that you're looking at here, the light source that you're looking at here is not over the intersection of Glendale Boulevard on the opposite side of my person. And this is what I'm speaking to, what's so impossible to be the case. So let me point out something very common sense, not rocket science. While you clearly see it on this side of my person, it is not at the intersection of Glendale and an entirely different location, direction. Okay, and so that's what you're witnessing, and this is what the entity is providing a body of evidence, and that's what the P.O.C. serves to establish. As common sense as this is, I understand that people have to see it in order to avoid what is literally pontificating about what a bunch of demons don't want to be proven about their condition and their criminal conduct. The sun is not maintaining ubiquitous presence. It's not, in other words, visible outside here, which is not going to be visible over the intersection of Glendale. Glendale is to my back. All right, I'm not looking at what's over the intersection of Glendale Boulevard, nor would the sun still be present over Glendale Boulevard, by the way, when I am driving to the car wash off of Glendale Boulevard at 6 o'clock in the evening. This is the specific environment, and it's called stalking with an unnatural environment. It is revealing the demon possession of a whole population who are maintaining presence, as opposed to engaging in what is randomness, a whole bunch of strangers who don't know you. This is just traffic. The targeted individual is a paranoid schizophrenic. That's the malice of the P.O.C. That's the malice. It's a whole population that has the same identical condition, and they are doing so in the specific environment. And this light source is not seen over Alvarado Gardens. It's not in alignment with my living room window. It is not seen outside of the leasing office window where I have maintained presence. And it's impossible that the two happen at the same time. This is the pattern of conduct underway, and this is what I want to show you. This is where the LAPD is amplifying helicopter activity, which is the element of audible activity creation. It's also facilitation. It's 2 federal offenses at once. The entity that is group stalking you is simultaneously enabling everyone else to group stalk you, which is an act of terrorism, criminal surveillance by a population. And this is what the population is doing on an ongoing basis. This is is where the entity is concentrating helicopter activity. They are simultaneously revealing their demon possession while they are group stalking, engaging in the elements of monitoring in a very specific environment where the sun is not over Clifford. This is the light source that's remaining present over me, revealing the condition of the driver of this vehicle, the condition of all of those who are in this environment as I'm crossing paths with people who are inside of their residences, who are in traffic, who are maintaining what is presence all around me while that environment is remaining, that unnatural environment is remaining. And so this is the significance of what I'm capturing. Let me take another picture if I want to document that. All right, so the entity is maintaining this light source while you're looking at what's impossible, the fact that it's here at this time, and it's also not here, which is what I'm showing at above. And it's 9:37. So on this June 5th, I'm already arriving
here.
here.
The sun over Alvarado Gardens, which you've seen. I was on the freeway. I was at the DMV. It moves as I move. The sun does not remain. Maintain an ubiquitous presence at the same place everywhere that you're going, regardless of whether that is stationary all day long. 9 HUE 802 is crossing path, while that engineered environment follows. It's now over Silverview Townhomes, and now it's going to be over Alvarado Gardens, and all of the people of the state with a straight face are group stalking. This is what I mean. It's not even intelligent. It's just 100% demonic.
And this is what the entity is maintaining outside of my leasing office. I'm facing this direction. The entrance of the the entrance of, which is relevant. It's not near the Ovid Family Community Library where I've already documented the maintenance of the light source. But the light source that's in this direction over my head outside of the leasing office window is not over the entrance where I am arriving in Uber on June 5th, 2024. And if it's the natural environment on June 5th, then it's supposed to be the same, substantially similar, if not identical conduct of the so-called sun. But you already know under no circumstances is the sun capable of being present over the Ovid Family Community Library all day also, and then somehow make some grand departure and at any point in the day not only be present in Los Angeles anywhere. This is what I'm saying with regard to the asininity. You already know that the sun is not going to be present, but it's documented over my head at the Ovid Family Community Library in Ontario, California, 8 o'clock in the morning until 6:41 in the evening. And then you have relocating to Los Angeles, and now you have a sunrise and sunset here. This isn't even in the same direction, but yet I'm showing on video the arrival of the light source that's moving over the adjacent property, Silverview, who you hear documenting group stalking this morning as I'm walking from my apartment.
Regardless of whether that is stationary all
There's
day
no,
long.
there's no sun that's over this direction.
While that engineered environment follows, it's now over Silverview Townhomes, and now it's going to be over Alvarado Gardens,
at 9:37,
and all of the people of the state with a straight face are group stalking.
There's no sun.
This is what I mean. It's not even intelligent. It's just 100% demonic. It's
That's the entrance
9:36 a.m.
Okay, and so this is what the entity is maintaining, and where you are looking at what the entity is engaging in at 9:37 as I begin capturing video, the same conduct that the entity engages in as I begin capturing video, 9:37 in the morning, and the entity is stalking in a helicopter. That's the entrance right there.
LAPD and Glendale Police Department doing the same thing. They're going to federal prison. 9 HUG 024. LAPD sounding helicopter. That's a white male.
You've already seen me present at this entrance after 5 o'clock in the evening, and this fake sun is still over me at that entrance. That's the P.O.C. This is where the entity is stalking in helicopter, which you'll see in this video. You can clearly see the light source right over me through the window of that vehicle.
They're going to federal prison. 9 HUG 024. LAPD sounding helicopter. That's a white male. Oh no, that's a white female with a Nike shirt on. Driving a Lexus.
It's only
going
over
to
me
federal
when I
prison. The
walk
light source is
over
now
there.
over Alvarado
I'm not
Gardens,
over there.
and the entity is sounding
Here it is right
helicopter
here.
activity.
You're looking at it at
that's called audible activity. And Carlo Lopez, you already know he's on.
That's a money shot right there. Let's go back some, because we're looking at the same location from two different vantage points. And this is capturing the evidence of the demon possession, those that are stalking, and this is directly relevant to the heads of these departments, to these politicians in the state of California and the LA Karen base. This is documentation of the whole state and public corruption at every level. They're not ignorant. I'm revealing to you what the entire state of California, this is why you have the identical pattern of conduct amongst a whole population. If I randomly go to a Glendale DMV, the P.O.C. is underway. No, they're not ignorant. This is revealing what is corruption, and I have gone all the way up to the California Supreme Court. And it is facilitation at the California Supreme Court. Okay, you saw that engineer light across the gate, and that's how also what you know. It has nothing to do with the light source over here. The engineer light that's on my ceilings, those sex offenders are engaging in surveillance while I'm inside of my bedroom, panties down and everything. And I want to be clear, that same condition, that same sexual violence, this is what's being sponsored. Karen Bass is aware of it. Robert Luna is aware of it. You have Dominic Choi who are aware of it. The demon-possessed population are violent sex offenders. They engage in sexual violence that are currently outlawed, but they are engaging in it as a corrupt government. Okay, they are violent sex offenders and terrorists. And you know that through the impossible light activity. The same impossible light activity that you saw, by the way, at a random DMV that I went to, where I did not remain at Alvarado Gardens, where my back is to the location where you are seeing at the same time the so-called sun is over my head over there. That's the money shot. And the entity tells on itself. There's no sun. You see at the top, we're looking at the same location from different vantage points. And this is, again, this video is now 9:41. So on this day in June 5th, I am arriving at, you see the light source that's remaining here, moving as I move, by the way. It's advancing farther than where it is if I'm inside of the office looking outside of the leasing office window, and it's over the hillside. It advances as I advance. That's exactly what you see on video while I'm inside of third-party group stalker's vehicle, Uber, and I am subject to the pattern of conduct, and it is proven through the unnatural environment that will never consist of a sun maintaining both stationary presence all day long and also movement to maintain presence over me in it's some ubiquitous state while I go to another location and travel back here while I'm at the same address, and the light source is documented maintenance of presence here over me at the same address. And